Providence on Harrison Street, right off Westminster Street. It's on a vacant lot that we started last spring. We dug in February, March. So this time last year we didn't have a farm, and now we do. And what we're about to show you today is how we started our farm in the winter months before the ground unfurrows. We mix our own using mostly supplies that are really cheap. And I put the recipe for potting soil in the flyer, but the basic idea is half a part good compost. So what I brought for that today, you can buy bags of pure compost at Home Depot. Just make sure you take a look and notice that it's organic, because they often put chemical fertilizers in bags of compost. And also, definitely if you're buying pre-mixed potting soil, make sure it just has organic material, no chemicals. So what I brought for the soil is this bag of beautiful worm soil. I have a worm bin at home, and we don't have time to talk about that today, but I am a worm lover, and I will talk to you for as long as you want about getting a worm bin at home. It's really cool. They eat all your food scraps, they don't smell bad, and they make really, really good soil. So you harvest out some compost from your worm bin or from your composter outside, or you can buy a bag of compost from Home Depot. And if you're using compost that you made yourself, ideally you want to sift it, because when you come up later you can look closely at my worm soil, but there are lots of chunks of eggshells that didn't yet break down. Sometimes there's like pumpkin seeds, things that take a long time to break down. Sometimes the worms don't get it all out before you harvest the soil. So it's good to sift that. To that you want to do double that amount of vermiculite, which is right here. This is a mineral, it's igneous, which means it's volcanic rock. And it's, when you come up and feel it, it's just basically like a very light, fine powder. And what this does is just add loft and lightness to your potting mix, so it allows the baby roots to spread into the potting mix more easily. And it's great stuff. And it's cheap. This whole bag was like $4 or something. So I'm going to do 8 handfuls of this. You can be more precise or less precise. 5, 6, 7, 8.
That was more precise.
It's a little dusty. And then the last ingredient is peat moss, which comes in gigantic blocks. So you don't want to bite there. Unless you have a good bite card. So I'm going to do 8 handfuls of this. Yeah. Can we make a huge mess here? This, we were doing all this in our bedrooms last year, and this year we're going to do it in the basement. So we have to do a lot less sweeping. I think Faye and I had a few weeks where like climbing into bed felt like we were getting into a garden too. There was so much dirt in our sheets. Okay, 1, 2. So peat moss. So peat moss is just it's also pretty light organic matter that just, it's less spongy and dense than the compost, so it kind of also adds the loft that vermiculite adds, and it also retains water well. So altogether, that's a pretty good potting mix. But you can add a little sprinkle of lime, that's to have good pH. Just a little handful. Lime comes from Home Depot too. If your pH is off in your garden when you do a soil test, you can add lime, and that neutralizes the soil too.